Hey, I'm Joe Platts.
I'm Ryan Gardner.
And we're with the Platts Group. So Ryan, today we're talking about the experience that somebody has pertaining to lending. What is the biggest question that buyers bring to us about getting a home loan?
They want to know whether they can go with their local bank, where maybe their job is, incorporated there, or if they should go with a broker.
Right. What is the difference between a brick and mortar, like let's talk about some of the national brands like a Bank of America or a US Bank or a Wells Fargo or a Chase versus a mortgage broker? So first off, Ryan, what do you explain to a buyer who had this question is something that they could expect if they walked into a four walls brick and mortar national chain bank that have like savings accounts and CDs and wealth management and mortgages and car loans and credit cards?
I would say, first we would just talk about what kind of experience do you want to have, right? That's what we always bring it back to with anything that we talk about here in the Platts Group is we bring the experience and we bring a platform that's going to help you have the best experience with your home buying process. And so when we talk about a bank, we talk about, hey, they might get you a great rate. You might get a lot of good things from going in there. You just might not get the experience that we would hope that you would have in one of the most important decisions that you are making in your life, maybe next to marriage or child,
Right.
So some other things, right?
Yeah.
It's a huge experience.
So it's stressful to spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And have that, in the hinge while you're still trying to figure out a whole bunch of other details, right? So I think experience comes to mind. Like, what kind of experience do you want to have?
Yeah.
Do you want to have more of that? When you talk about car loans, it's almost like, do you want to go into a dealership, or do you want private party? Do you want somebody, and maybe not private party in the sense of I'm selling my Honda Civic, but more of that customer care, customer service.
Right. See, one of my mentors asked me the other day, he said, Joe, do you have a degree in counseling? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, we end up hearing about everybody's problems, right? And so what happens is we hear some nightmare stories. And so we have some things that are some clear differentiators between a brick and mortar bank, like what Ryan is talking about, and going to a mortgage broker. The first one is that we have our own special real estate language, and it's confusing, right? What is underwriter? What is a CD? Like, I grew up in the 90s. A CD is something we put in and there's music, right? But real estate, a CD is something completely different, right? And so there's this easily confused terminology about being pre-qualified and being pre-approved. And it feels interchangeable in the English dialect. But Ryan, what does that really mean? What's the difference between being pre-qualified and being pre-approved?
Well, pre-qualification, and not to pick on banks, because we're not trying to pick on anybody. We're just trying to give you kind of both sides. Again, bring that information to you. But pre-qualified tends to be what a bank, that brick and mortar, might give someone kind of right out the gate. Like, okay, you make it's almost word of mouth. Like I make this much. This is how much my debts are every month. Here's my credit score. Look at my app. These different things, right? So they're going to pre-qualify you based off of what Joe's information is from him that day, right? A pre-approval is typically there's an application process. They send you an application, whether that's paper or a link. You're doing that. You're putting in all of your information, and it really gives them a full view of what you're approved to purchase, what your buying power is. So they're going to do a credit check, and it's going to be a hard inquiry, but that's going to give you the confidence going forward to know, okay, I'm ready to go because I know I'm approved at this price, not I'm pre-qualified, I think I'm okay to buy.
Right.
Also, with this market going forward, if we go to work and we start looking at houses and we want to buy a house, houses are flying off the shelf right now. We go to bat with a pre-qualification. We're not hitting any bases, right? I mean, we might swing.
Right.
We're going to swing. But we're not going to be able to move forward and throw a contract out there trying to go mutual because we don't have the backing. So not saying that a bank can't get us pre-approved. They totally can. But typically their process is they kind of get you pre-qualified first which what we've seen with brokers is, well, they don't want to waste their time or your time. They want to get you pre-approved. So they want you to know exactly what your fighting power is right out the gate.
Right. So to be clear, pre-approved is credit, income, even pay stubs, all those things are verified up front. And so when you walk into the bank, that they have this big menu of, you could get a car loan, you could buy a treasury bond. Like, do they even have those anymore? I don't know. I think I still have some. But anyway, like, they've got all these things they can do, and there's this customer service representative, and their job is to take care of you, and they're going to be professional, and they're going to be kind and all that kind of stuff. But what they're going to do is they're going to take some preliminary information and they're going to send it somewhere else. And traditionally, in most cases, it's actually sent to somebody out of state. Different time zone, you can't easily get a hold of them, you gotta dial 1-800, and you gotta do extensions, and right? And what's gonna happen is, when you have questions, you're gonna go into the bank, you're gonna find friendly customer service person, they're gonna be friendly on Tuesday, just like they were on Monday, and you're gonna say, hey, what is going on with my loan? And they're gonna say, I don't know. Let me call 1-800 North Dakota or something, right?
And put you on speaker, and we can call together.
Right. Well, they can't do that, because then the other customers are going to hear your stuff, and they got privacy, right? So we find that a lot of our clients are happier at the end of a sale when they finance with a broker. And there's a lot of reasons why. So the first one is, Ryan said, they're going to get right to the facts. They're going to say, let's really look and see what you can do. Let's set you up for success, number one. Number two, we're going to encourage you to use somebody local. That does not mean there are not fantastic lenders all over the place. One of my very best friends, if he's watching this, shout out to you, Rory, but he lives in Hawaii. And the truth is like, the process just goes a little better for people buying houses in Hawaii when they work with somebody in Hawaii. Right. And the same thing in Washington. And so you get that customer service. They have some flexibility in the fee structure. We have a lender that offers every single person we refer to them $1,000 credit off the fees, right off the top. Their processing team, if not local, which a lot of times they usually are, if not local, they have a direct access to. They're not on hold. They're not dialing 1-800 to get a hold of them. And then when you have a question, you call your single point of contact and they communicate with you. And the last thing that is like an awkward thing to talk about, but it's just true, right? Right, Ryan? What is the last awkward thing that's the difference between the guy at the bank or the lady at the bank and the mortgage broker?
Well, it's how they get paid, right? So, I mean, it's always awkward when we talk about money, right? But it's always about money. That's where the lines are, right? So you go into the bank, that person's paid on an hourly rate. From whatever their shift is, they're going to get paid for that day. Well, a broker, he's only going to get paid if he does a good job, for one, and he actually gets you from start to completion of that loan. And so they're highly motivated. I mean, I don't know about you, but nobody's offered to pay me hourly on real estate. So I gotta work pretty hard to get it from start to finish, right? And so we just see that when someone's incentivized differently, you get different results. And so what we've noticed is that your customer service, not only for you, the buyer, is excellent, and it's continued from start to finish, but also we can go to bat for you as well, because we don't have to call a 1-800 number and filter through all that. We go directly to someone we recommend, and they have our number on caller ID. They know why we're calling, right? So they're going to answer it. We're going to solve problems before they even become an issue, and we're going to make a smooth transaction.
Yeah. So our wish for you is that when you embark on a real estate journey and you say, Joe, Ryan, it's time to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, we want you to have the absolute best experience possible. And that's why we kind of, without reservation, encourage that you talk to one of our recommended mortgage brokers. To give you one more piece of context in this information, it would be just like if Ryan and I were part of the firm we're part of Keller Williams, if we said, I'm sorry, I know you want to buy a house, but you can only look at homes listed by Keller Williams. Well, here's the good news. Largest company in the world, most agents, you're going to have a pretty good selection. But what if What if one of our competitors has your dream house and we have to say, sorry, you can't have that one? Well, we want you to not be limited to the walls of the bank. And so the broker is able to not only try to sell the product that is under their brand, under their headline, that kind of stuff, just like, gosh, we'd love to do a deal with another person in our office, like that would be nice, right? But life isn't always nice, right? And business isn't always about just being nice. But they can also show you all of the options that are available to you. And that's what we believe. We believe that you, the consumer, should have the information to make the decision that's right for you. So that's it for now. We're signing off. Hopefully that all made sense, but in the event that you have a question or something else we can help you with about lending or anything real estate, shout out to us, call us, text us, DM us, send a carrier pigeon. We're here for you. We can't wait